Good morning, folks. Ann here. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing. I'm out at the museum again this morning. It's Saturday morning, and I think we're going to get some rain, so I wanted to get this done pretty early. This is the second day that I do not feel ill at all, so I'm very happy about that. I still got woken up though because the cat is still jumping off that bed. The glycinate, the magnesium glycinate that I take, it helps a lot. It helps me, I think it's helping me fall back to sleep. But I don't always fall back to sleep. So there's a problem there, folks. And I'm going to tie that in with some of the conversation that I want to have this morning. And the conversation I want to have is that just because we're older doesn't mean that we need to accept what the doctors and many other people try to tell us. That it's that if we have aches and pains, or now I know some people, of course, there's things that go wrong when you're aging. I don't mean to say everything, but even as I was getting sicker last year, my mind was, because I've heard it for so many years, my mind was, well, this is all part of aging. I have to accept this. I have to accept that I have to live in an apartment where I can get help, instead of up on the mountain where I prefer to live, because I thought it was aging. I was preparing myself, and I love my apartment, but we had another lady die in there, and it's so sad. But we don't have to accept it, folks. Maybe some of it we do, because yes, we are getting older, but a lot of us can improve it on a grand scale. It's not something we absolutely have to accept and just sit down on a chair and live out the rest of our life and look out the window and watch the grass grow. We can get out of that chair and get up and start moving around again. And I had a little bit of experience with the low carb when I went from 7.9 to 6.4 on my own with no medicine. Before I went haywire this last year. Well, we know that whole story. I didn't do good. I went crazy eating again. Back my old habits. But I had a little bit of experience with low carb. And I knew that was helping me with my sugar lows and everything. Because as for new folks, I'm a diabetic. And that helped me a couple of years ago when I did that. And that's why this last time, that's what I wanted, the low carb. There wasn't another diet out there that could compare. And I don't think you need to be a diabetic. A lot of us are pre-diabetic. That's a new thing. They put you on medicine when you're pre-diabetic. Well, I was on the medicine for 6 months and I got off it. And I was able to bring down my sugar by myself. Of course, I didn't stick to it, so now I'm bringing it down. But I'm not saying to get off your medicine, because if you're on your medicine, you need to do it with your doctor, because you don't want to get your sugar too low and then have problems. But since I started on March 22nd, my average blood sugar with my own meter at home, it started at 200, because I went back up there after I got it down to 6.4. And what was I saying? But I take my blood sugar in the mornings every now and then, not every day. And I was averaging around 200. And now lately I'm averaging between 150, 155. And that was last week. I haven't checked it in a week. So it's going down. Just with my, not just with, but with my low carb and my exercising. And it's mostly not putting those carbs in your system. That's what it's all about. If you can't exercise, you still can bring that down. And you could still feel better and get rid of the aches and pains no matter how old you are. You can eliminate a good part of that. I'm here to say that it works. I was so bad sitting in my chair before I started this journey. You know, it works. If you have mobility problems and you can't get up out of your chair, you still can feel so much better if you eliminate the carbs. You know, they never told us that. I don't know. Wow, do you see how fast I'm moving? It's awesome. The doctors don't know, folks. You know, there's good doctors out there. We would have heard about this. They would have pushed it more, you know, to get off the carbs. You know, especially as we're aging, because our metabolism is slowing down. We could feel so much better no matter what age we are if we start eating the right thing. And then gentle stretches. Stretching is so important. I used to be an inmate when I worked at the jail. And every morning when I went and did my walkthroughs, this lady, she had to have been in her 70s. Every morning she'd be in that cell stretching with her back up against the wall, bending over, stretching out her legs. And I thought, I used to stop to talk to her. And I thought it was great that she was doing that. And what was I? I was still in my early 40s, and I admired her for what she was doing. You know, she wanted to keep her body limber. And just with gentle exercises. Now, if she went out into the yard, I learned a lot from the inmates too, you know. If she went out into the yard, she would do her laps around the courtyard. And she was in good shape. She didn't have extra weight. So it just goes to show that no matter what life throws at you, I don't remember what she did. It wasn't anything that serious. But no matter what life throws at you, you could figure out a way to do those exercises. Now, she wasn't able to eat the diet that she probably liked to eat. I didn't ask her anything about that. But I guarantee you, she wasn't eating those 3 slices of bread that they serve with every meal. 3 slices every meal. But then they finally cut it down to 2. But that's still 6 slices of bread a day. Maybe they want the inmates to be sluggish and, you know, maybe that keeps them quiet. God knows what they're thinking when they serve that kind of bread. Okay, I think I'm going to be able to do one more lap around. I might slow down a little bit though. Yep, we were told to just accept it. It's all a part of aging. We were given medicine. Even younger people in their 50s, 45, you know, they've been told, you're getting older. You're going to have these aches and pains. But it doesn't have to be that way. No, they just push that medicine on us. You know, pre-diabetic. But I can understand there could be, you know, yeah, I mean, I can't say it's across the board that all the medicine is bad, and of course I don't know that, but I do think for most of us, we can do it on ourselves. And once we get into that mindset, folks, I'm in that mindset. I never used to get out here at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. I was lucky if I could get up and go check my mail down the hall. It takes baby steps. Even if you have, you know, the hip pains or knee pain, I don't know about knee pain so much, but this, you know, you still can do a little walking, providing you're not going to make it worse. But like I said, if you can't, start eliminating those carbs. You're going to start feeling better. Your brain is going to clear. And you know, folks, it's not about the scale and how much you weigh. I mean, that helps. But just the way you feel, that you're not constantly in pain. You know, no, we're not going to want to, I don't expect to look like a teenager at my age, you know, get down that thin. I just want to look presentable and have some stamina and not be in pain. And this is working for me. Now, I know I have a long way to go, but this is working for me. Now, some of you have watched me from the beginning. And the difference that it's making is, you know, I don't know if you see it as much as I think it, but I really do. I think I'm transforming for the better. At 68 years old, I'll be 68 in 3 months. You know, I'm living proof. If you look and see how fast I was walking at the beginning of all this, in my mood and everything, it was not like it is now. And like I said, I moved into that apartment because I thought that's what I needed, and now I'm seriously thinking that I might move back up to my camp. I'm having different thoughts about my future. I want to do what I always wanted to do. I want to travel. I want to head south in the winter. Now, that was one of the things that I wanted to do in my younger age, but when I moved into the apartment, I was accepting everything, folks. I was accepting everything. That's where I was going to be, sitting in that apartment. You know, I thought the numbers were going up, my age, and I thought that's where I needed to be, and now I'm feeling better, and that's all changing. And now my camp is not fancy. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath mobile home up on a mountain, an acre of land. But, you know, I've done some work, you know, and it's very comfortable. I just love it up there. And if I do that, then I could I could take some winter months and head south where it's warmer, because that was one of the reasons I left the mountain too, was because of the winters. We get a lot of snow up there. But my point is that your goals and everything start shifting. And look at me. It's been since March 22nd, and I'm already thinking like this. Your goals change, your life, it starts to come alive again. You know, you don't just start getting rid of the aches and pains, but your mind clears and you start coming alive again. And all those dreams that you had when you were younger that you didn't do, like the bucket list, You can do it. There's a chance for you to do it if you just get on this low carb path. I honestly believe that. And I know, folks, I know some people, are in such a bad state right now that all of that might not happen. But I do know if those people cut down on their carbs, it will improve their life. It will help them to be more independent. Now, if they have somebody coming in helping them every day, there's sad situations out there. And I don't ever want to disregard that fact because, these people still need help. We don't know what being sick is really like. What we got right now, we could take care of. Most of us, we can. This has all been self-inflicted on us. We've done it ourselves, to ourselves. We have that choice. Every time we walk into the store to buy food, we have a choice. You got something in your hand. Well, is this going to make me feel better or is this going to make me sick? Is it going to cause aches and pains? Is it going to raise my insulin? It's a choice every single time we pick something up in our hand. It's a choice before we pick it up. To walk by it. It's not good for you. It's going to call out your name for the first while until you get off the carbs, but I promise you, after you get those carbs out of your system, you will not have those cravings. I never thought, that it happened so wonderfully that way. I mean, look at the comments that some of the other people are sharing on the channel. They don't have cravings. They're doing wonderful. Some of them for years. Our bodies do not need those carbs. There is no scientific evidence out there that says that we need those carbs. That flour is like another form of cocaine, something that kills you. The donuts, the pastries, the bread. I'm telling myself this too, it reinforces my own belief, folks. I don't have it down pat, it's one day at a time too for me. All I know is that I'm starting to feel like a new person. And it hasn't been that long. I want to do things yet. For however long I have left on this earth, I want to enjoy them. I don't want to sit in that chair and just get sicker and sicker and worse by the day. When you don't move your body, you get so stiff. I call it rigor mortis. It's already setting in even before we die. You can't move. You're stiffening right up. And every day you sit in that chair, that's just feeding that rigor mortis. But if you get up and you do your gentle stretches or you go for a little walk and you're not eating those foods, if you're eating those foods, then you're fighting a losing battle is what you're doing if you're still eating those carbs. Start eliminating slowly and taking your baby steps for your exercise. I love the comments about these people that are winning and that have won and that, their life has changed around so much. They would never go back to the old way of eating, never. You think, I know, and I do too, even now, but it's rare, but I'll think, well, I used to like to go to have that Chinese meal with my sister, and I ain't going to be able to do that no more. Of course I think that. That was a part of my life, we enjoyed the company of each other, and That was a staple thing to do for the two of us. You know, you're gonna might have thoughts like that, but you're not gonna crave them. You're gonna be making new things to do and having new thoughts about your life. Now, I know I'm not perfect. I'm so far from it. And I say these things for myself too, folks. But if I keep going in this direction, the way I feel now, after just a little more than a couple months, the sky is the limit. As long as God lets me stay alive, you know. I didn't feel like that. Believe me, I didn't feel like that before I started. I couldn't even get up from the toilet seat. My first video, I talked about how I ordered one of those risers. And I couldn't even use that because I didn't have enough room to wipe. You know, I didn't have... And I feel sorry for the people that are going through that, folks. We don't need to live like that. We don't. We can make some changes for ourselves. We could beat half of the suffering that we're doing, or more than that. I know the people, like I keep saying, I don't ever want to, you know, say that everybody could do it, because of course not. But that suffering and that dependence on other people to help you do things, and that lack of joy that you get, or those plans that you always had, you know, they're gone. They're all gone. Living like that, you have nothing. You basically have nothing. I mean, even the richest person in the world, if they don't have their health, they don't have nothing. But we could do it. We can make the changes, and we can do it. And I'm getting even more motivated about this because I see it happening to myself gradually. You know, I felt strongly about the low-carb diet, but the more I see myself getting better, I feel even more strongly about the low-carb diet. You're not starving yourself. God, I talk loud. I hope nobody's around because this is so beautiful here, folks. You know, it's so beautiful here. You know, even coming out here, a simple thing like this, you know, it'll brighten your day. It brightens my day, even with the clouds. I have plans with my sister today, so I'm going to try to get this video out before I leave, otherwise it won't go out until later today. So I just hope, folks, you're all doing well. You know, I love the comments and everything, like I always say. I love that I'm getting more subscribers. We're getting more subscribers. They're here to join us. So all the new subscribers are here to join us, the ones that have been here since the beginning. We're growing, folks. We're all growing. We're a community. We're actually a community. The most loving and caring community that I ever came across on YouTube. I might be a little biased about that. Well, folks, I appreciate all of you. I really do, and I hope the best for you. You know, my heart aches for people that are suffering. But if you could do one thing to change it, starting today, it'd be the best decision that you ever make in your life. Okay, I'm just going to be wrapping it up pretty quick here. Do it. Make the decision to do it. You know, I've had so many excuses why I'm going to put it off, how I got to wait till Mondays. Don't wait another day. Make one little change. You know, don't have that second slice of bread today, or something like that. Just one little change, and the minute you do that, you're heading in the right direction, and your mood even lightens because you know that you didn't have that second piece of bread today, and that gives you motivation, knowing that you're doing something for yourself, and that, as simple as it might sound, you are doing something for yourself, you know. And if you have to do that for a whole week, don't have that second slice of bread. If it takes a month and that's all you could do, I mean, hopefully it won't take a month, but everybody is so different, and if your body reacts, very negatively, I'm not a doctor, folks, and I don't know, and I wouldn't want you to do something that's going to hurt you. That if you're on medicine, you need to work with your doctor and let them know, your doctor know what you're doing, that you're eliminating carbs slowly, because once you get down to a certain point, you really need to, what they say is you need to start reducing your carbs as you're lowering your carbs. I mean, you have to start reducing your meds. I do that all the time. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. You have to reduce the medicine as you're reducing the carbs. That's what I meant to say. But anyway, folks, I'm back over here, and I'll be out again tomorrow, hopefully between the rain. Wow. I'm gonna go, folks. That truck that was behind me, and I'm glad I turned around with the camera. Did you hear them yelling? They yelled out the window something about the video, and then they left. They no sooner got here and they left. But that's because there's nobody here this morning. It's deserted. So I'm getting out of here. I love you guys. And thank you for joining me. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye, folks.